The sound of dripping water echoed in the dark room. It was slow, one drop at a time, and each drop felt louder than the last. The air was heavy, filled with the smell of rust and damp stone. Somewhere in the shadows, a young human man opened. His eyes at first, he thought he was dreaming. His vision was blurry, his body weak, and his throat dry. He tried to move, but his arms felt heavy. His legs refused to answer. He lay on the cold floor, listening to his own shallow breathing. The walls around him were strange. They were not smooth like concrete, but rough, almost carved. Faint glowing lines ran across the stone, forming symbols he could not understand. They pulsed with a dim green light, like the heartbeat of something alive. Fear rushed through him. Where was he? How did he come here? His memory was broken, like a shattered mirror. Only small pieces remained. He remembered fire, running, voices shouting, and then nothing. The silence was broken by a sound, footsteps, soft but steady, echoing through the narrow corridor outside. He held his breath, his chest rising and falling too fast. Every instinct told him to hide, but there was nowhere to go. From the shadows a figure appeared. It was not human, a tall girl, her skin pale with a faint blue shimmer, her eyes larger than his, glowing softly in the dark. Her hair, silver like moonlight, fell over her shoulders. She wore dark clothing with strange markings across her arms. In her hands, she carried a small container of water and something wrapped in cloth. The human froze. This was an alien. His heart pounded as he tried to push himself back, but his body was too weak. He expected her to hurt him or call others, but instead, she kneeled beside him, her movements calm and careful. "Drink," she said, her voice soft but firm. She held the container close to his lips. The man hesitated, but the dryness in his throat was too strong. He drank, and the water felt like life itself. For the first time since waking, his chest loosened. The alien girl placed the cloth bundle beside him. Inside was food, strange in shape, glowing faintly. She pushed it gently toward him. Nodding, he stared at her, confused. Why was she helping him? Why would an alien feed a human? The girl did not explain. Her glowing eyes studied him with an unreadable expression. Then, without another word, she stood and walked to the far side of the bunker. She touched a wall, and a hidden panel opened. Behind it, a narrow tunnel stretched into darkness. The boy wanted to ask questions, but his voice broke, his throat still weak. The girl turned back to him, and for a moment, he saw something strange in her eyes. Not hatred, not fear, but something else. A secret. Then she whispered, "Do not make noise," and with that, she disappeared into the tunnel, the wall sealing behind her. The boy sat in silence, his mind racing. What was this place? Why would an alien hide him here? And more important, why did he feel that she was not just saving his life, but hiding him from something even worse? He forced himself to eat, the strange food filling his stomach with warmth. Slowly, his strength returned, but fear stayed, sharp like a blade in his chest. He looked again at the glowing symbols on the walls. They seemed to move when he stared too long, almost like they were alive, breathing, watching him. His skin crawled. This bunker was not safe, and yet, it was the only place keeping him alive. Time passed slowly. The boy could not tell if it was day or night. No light from outside reached this underground place, only silence, dripping water, and the faint hum of the glowing walls. Every small sound made his heart jump. Every moment he wondered if the alien girl would return, or if soldiers would come instead. He remembered flashes of Earth, skies filled with fire, human cities burning. He remembered running, hiding, screaming voices, and then waking here. He pressed his hands against the wall, whispering to himself, "Why am I still alive?" And then he remembered the alien girl's eyes, not cold, not cruel, almost human. Maybe she saved him for a reason, but what reason? His body trembled as he lay down again, staring into the endless dark. His mind whispered questions. But no answers came, only fear, and the echo of footsteps that still haunted his ears. Somewhere in the silence, far above the bunker, other footsteps were moving too, heavy, sharp, like soldiers. And though he did not know it yet, his survival was about to depend on the alien girl more than ever, because she was not only keeping him alive, she was keeping him hidden, and secrets, in this world, were more dangerous than death. The bunker was silent, but the human could not sleep. Every sound in the dark made his chest tighten. He waited, listening, hoping the alien girl would return. Time passed like slow drops of water, heavy and endless. Finally, the wall shifted again. The hidden panel slid open with a faint hiss. She stepped inside, her silver hair glowing faintly in the dark. Her eyes searched the room, sharp and alert. When she saw him awake, she whispered, "Good, you are still alive." The boy pushed himself up, his arms trembling. "Why?" he asked, his voice rough. "Why are you helping me?" The girl stared at him for a long moment. Then she placed a finger over her lips, a sign for silence. She walked to him, handed him more food, and whispered, "Because if they find you, they will kill you." The words cut like a blade. He swallowed. Staring at her, her voice was calm, but her eyes betrayed fear. It was not fear of him, but of something outside the bunker. Something larger, something powerful. She sat down near the wall, her hands brushing over the glowing symbols. "They watch everything," she whispered. "These marks, they are eyes." The boy leaned closer, confused. She explained in broken words, careful not to reveal too much. Her people had technology older than memory, walls that could sense, marks that could report, and air that could carry whispers. He realized then why she spoke so softly. Even the walls might be listening. She leaned closer, her voice barely a breath. "You must not be heard, not even once, because if my people discover you, both of us will die." The boy's heart raced. He tried to understand. Your people hate humans?" Her eyes darkened. "They believe humans are dangerous, cursed, unworthy of life." She turned her gaze away, her voice trembling. "They say your kind destroyed worlds, that you are only chaos." The boy wanted to argue, to shout that it was not true, but the broken pieces of his memory betrayed him. He remembered explosions, fire, destruction. Were humans innocent or guilty? Even he did not know anymore. The girl stood and moved to the tunnel. She stopped before leaving, her voice softer than before. "You are not safe here forever, but for now. This bunker is hidden from them, hidden even from my father." The boy froze. Her father. She had never spoken of him before, but the fear in her eyes when she said his name told him everything. This was no ordinary alien. She was the daughter of someone powerful, someone dangerous. The wall closed behind her, leaving him in silence once more. He sat in the dark, his thoughts a storm. Why would the daughter of a powerful alien risk her life for him? Why would she betray her own people? Hours passed, maybe longer. The boy tried to rest, but his mind refused. He stared at the glowing symbols, remembering her words. "They are eyes," she had said. Were they watching him even now? Did they know she was protecting him? A sudden sound outside made his heart stop. Heavy boots, many of them, marching in rhythm. Voices speaking in a strange tongue, sharp and harsh. He crawled toward the wall, pressing his ear against the stone. The voices grew clearer. "They say a human is hiding in this sector," one voice said. "Orders are to search every bunker, every shadow, leave nothing alive." The boy's body turned cold. His heart pounded so loud he feared they would hear it. He pressed himself flat against the floor, covering his mouth. The soldiers' steps echoed closer. Dust fell from the ceiling as the bunker shook from their movements. Then silence, for a long moment, nothing, and then the sound of metal striking the wall. Scanning, a red glow bled through the cracks, sliding across the room. He froze, praying, wishing for the alien girl to return. But she did not. The light passed. The soldiers muttered something, then moved away. Their voices faded, their steps echoing into the distance. The boy's body relaxed, but only slightly. He was alive, but for how long? When the wall opened again, the alien girl rushed inside, her chest heaving, her face pale. "They were close," she whispered. "Too close." She grabbed his arm, pulling him toward the hidden tunnel. He resisted, confused. "Why are you risking this? Why me?" he asked, desperate. She stopped, her grip tight, her eyes glowing with something fierce. "Because not all the stories they tell about humans are true," she whispered, then softer, almost trembling. "And because I believe you can survive when others cannot." Her words sank deep into him. Was that the secret? Was that why she risked everything? Before he could speak, she turned away, her silver hair catching the faint green light. She whispered one final warning before the wall sealed again. "If you want to live, never let them know you exist. Not even my father, especially not my father." The boy lay back in the dark, his heart racing. Now he understood the danger. The girl was not just saving him. She was betraying her world for him, and secrets like that never stayed hidden for long. The bunker was quiet again, but inside the human's mind, there was no peace. Sleep came in broken pieces, filled with flashes of fire and voices screaming. He saw faces he could not remember, and then the sound of something collapsing. Every time he opened his eyes, the same rough walls and glowing symbols greeted him. The air was heavy, and the silence pressed down on him like a weight. His body was weak, but his thoughts were restless. He tried to stand, his hands pushing against the cold stone. Pain shot through his legs, and he almost fell. Still, he forced himself to move, step by step, across the bunker. His breath came fast, his body shaking. It felt like learning to walk all over again. The alien girl had said nothing about his past. She only told him to stay quiet, to stay alive. But the boy's mind searched for answers. Who was he before this? Why did he remember only fragments? And why did she care if he lived or died? He touched the strange glowing marks on the wall. The light pulsed faintly under his fingers, warm, almost alive. He pulled his hand back quickly. Uneasy, the girl had called them eyes. If they were eyes, then maybe they were watching him even now. The thought made his skin crawl. The food she gave him kept him alive, but his hunger was stronger than the small glowing pieces she brought. His body craved more. His muscles ached for strength. He hated the feeling of weakness, the way his arms shook when he lifted even a stone from the floor. He clenched his fists, whispering to himself, "I cannot stay weak forever." Hours turned into days. The girl visited when she could, always silent, always careful. Sometimes she brought water, sometimes food. Sometimes she said nothing at all, but the boy could see it in her eyes. She was afraid not of him, but of the danger around them both. One night, she entered the bunker quickly, her breathing fast. "They are searching again," she whispered. "I cannot stay long." She placed food in his hands, but he pushed it back. "Why?" he asked, his voice sharper than before. "Why do you care? Why not let me die like the rest?" The girl froze, her silver hair catching the dim light. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she whispered, "Because I see something different in you." But she gave no further answer and vanished through the wall. The boy stared after her, anger mixing with confusion. Something different? What did that mean? He felt like a prisoner, trapped in a secret he could not understand. And the more he thought about it, the more the walls of the bunker felt like a cage. He decided to test himself. If he was going to survive, he needed strength, so he trained his weak body in silence, push-ups against the cold floor, lifting small rocks, pacing the small room until his legs no longer shook. Every breath burned, every movement felt like fire, but he refused to stop. In the silence of the bunker, he whispered to himself, "I am human, I will not break." The glowing walls seemed to pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. Sometimes he felt like they were alive, whispering in a language he could not hear. At night, He pressed his ear against the stone and listened, and sometimes, just sometimes, he thought he heard faint voices. From far away, were they soldiers? Or was it the wall itself? He could not tell one night, as he was trying to rest. The wall slid open. The girl stepped in, her eyes full of worry. "You must be careful," she said. "My father has ordered a full sweep. He believes someone is hiding a human." The boy's blood ran cold. "Her father, the leader, the hunter," he whispered. "If he finds me, what will you do?" Her eyes trembled, her hands tightening around the food she carried. "I do not know," she admitted. The honesty in her voice struck him. She was risking everything, yet even she could not promise his safety. He realized then that he could not depend only on her. If he wanted to survive, he had to be ready for the moment she failed. Days later, the sound of soldiers echoed above again. This time, closer, louder. The boy pressed himself into the shadows, every muscle tight. He heard voices outside the wall, weapons striking against stone. Then silence. A soldier's voice said, "If we find the human, we burn this whole sector." The boy's chest tightened, his mind racing. Burn the whole sector. That meant they would destroy even her if they discovered the secret. The bunker was not only his prison, it was her prison too. That night when she returned, he looked at her differently, not as a savior, but as someone trapped just like him. He whispered, "If they find us, we die together." For the first time she did not look away, she only nodded, her glowing eyes filled with something heavy. Not fear, but determination. The boy lay awake. Long after she left, he no longer wondered only about survival. Now he wondered about her. Why would an alien daughter of a powerful enemy risk her life for a human she barely knew? What secret was she hiding? And how long before that secret consumed them both? The silence of the bunker gave him no answer, only the sound of dripping water, only the faint hum of glowing walls, and the slow, steady beat of a heart that refused to give up. The bunker was colder than usual. The human sat against the wall, his breath fogging in the dim light. The silence felt wrong, heavier than before. He had learned to feel the difference between safe silence and dangerous silence. Tonight, the silence carried weight, like the air itself was waiting. He closed his eyes, but his heart would not rest. His body was tired, yet his instincts screamed. Something was near, something moving above, and then he heard it, the faint echo of footsteps, heavy and in rhythm, not one, but many. The human pressed himself to the wall, his pulse quickening. The glowing symbols flickered as if reacting to the sound outside. He whispered to himself, "They are coming." Moments later, the wall shifted open. The alien girl entered, her silver hair damp with sweat, her chest rising and falling fast. "They are close," she whispered. "Patrols, searching this sector." Her voice shook for the first time, not because she feared for herself, but because she knew what it meant for him. The boy clenched his fists. "How close?" he asked, his voice sharp. The girl's glowing eyes darted to the walls. "Too close," she answered. "They are already sweeping the bunkers one by one." His body turned cold. "If they open this one, they must not." She cut him off, her hand pressed against the glowing marks, and a hidden section of the floor opened. A narrow passage, dark and narrow, barely wide enough for one person. "Go," she ordered, her voice low but firm. The boy hesitated, staring at the hole. "Where does it lead?" he whispered. "Nowhere safe," she admitted, "but safer than here." The sound of boots echoed again, louder now. The walls trembled as if struck from outside. The girl's glowing eyes met his, fierce and unyielding. "Hide," she said, pushing him toward the passage. "They cannot find you, not here, not now." The boy crawled into the narrow space, his breath fast. The stone was cold against his hands, the dark pressing tight around him. He wanted to speak, but she pressed a finger to her lips once more. The panel above slid shut, sealing him in darkness. Through a small crack he could see the bunker. The girl stood alone now, her posture calm, her breathing steady. She touched the walls again, as if commanding them to silence. Then the sound came. The door above burst open with a violent hiss. Shadows entered, tall figures. With sharp armor and weapons glowing red, the human froze in his hiding place. His heart pounding so hard, he thought it might give him away. He could hear their voices, harsh and deep. "Search," one ordered, his tone like a blade. The others moved. Scanning the walls with glowing devices, red lights swept across the room, landing dangerously close to the hidden panel. The girl stood still, her face calm, her eyes cold. "What are you doing here?" One soldier demanded. "This bunker is restricted," she replied smoothly. Her voice carried authority, steady and confident, but inside the hidden passage, the boy could see her hand trembling slightly. The soldiers spread out, their boots thudding against the floor. One approached the exact wall hiding him. The boy's breath caught. The soldier raised his scanner, the red beam cutting across the stone. For a moment, the boy thought it was over. Then the girl spoke. "My father will not be pleased if you waste his time," she said sharply, her voice cut through the air, strong and commanding. The soldiers hesitated, exchanging uncertain glances. "You think my father does not know where I walk?" she added, her tone cold as steel. Her glowing eyes narrowed. "If you value your ranks, leave this place." The room froze, tension so thick it was hard to breathe. Then the leader of the patrol lowered his weapon. "Very well," he said, his voice heavy. "But if there is a human in this sector, it will not stay hidden forever." With that, the soldiers turned, their boots echoing as they left the bunker. The boy remained frozen in the darkness, every muscle locked. Only when the last sound of boots faded did the girl press the wall again, opening the panel. "Out," she whispered, her voice no longer steady. He crawled out, his body shaking, his face pale. "You lied to them," he said, quietly. She did not answer, only turned away, pressing her hand hard against the wall as if to steady herself. Finally she spoke, her voice soft. "If they discover you, they will kill me first." Her words sank into him like ice. He realized then the depth of her risk. She was not only protecting him, she was standing against her own people, her own soldiers, her own blood. "Why?" he asked again, his voice trembling. The girl turned, her glowing eyes shining with something between anger and sorrow. "Because the truth is not what they say," she whispered. "Humans are not only destruction, not only chaos." She stepped closer, her voice low. "And if I prove that, maybe everything will change." The boy stared at her, confused, desperate for answers. But before he could speak again, the wall behind her glowed red for a moment. The same mark she had called eyes. She looked up quickly, her face pale. "They are watching," she whispered. Her voice trembled. "The walls have seen too much." The boy's stomach tightened. The walls, the eyes, the bunker itself. It was not just a hiding place. It was a trap that could betray them both at any moment. And now, the secret was more fragile than ever. One mistake, one wrong move, and discovery would mean death. The human sat in silence long after the soldiers had gone. His heart was still racing, his hands trembling. He could not forget the red light sweeping across the wall, so close to revealing him. He could not forget the sound of the soldier's voice, promising that humans would never stay hidden forever. The alien girl stood on the other side of the bunker, her back against the wall, her face hidden in shadows. She was breathing hard, but her voice when she spoke was steady. "You cannot be careless," she whispered. "One mistake and everything ends." The boy nodded, but frustration burned inside him. He was tired of hiding, tired of silence, tired of being weak. He wanted answers. He wanted to understand why she was risking her life for him. That night when she prepared to leave, he stopped her. "Wait," he whispered, his voice raw. "Tell me your name." The girl froze, her hand still pressed against the glowing wall. Her silver hair caught the faint green light, shining like metal. For a long time she said nothing. Then finally she turned, her glowing eyes meeting his. "My name is Forbiddance," she whispered. "If I give it to you, it binds us." Boy's chest tightened. "I don't care," he said. "I don't want to hide in silence forever." Her eyes softened, and for the first time, she almost smiled. "My name," she whispered, her voice like a secret carried by the wind, "is Liara." The sound of it lingered in the air, strange, beautiful, heavy with meaning. The boy repeated it softly, "Liara," and for a moment, the bunker did not feel like a prison. It felt like something else, a place where two worlds touched. She leaned closer, her voice low. "Now you must never say it where the walls can hear." He nodded, and something unspoken passed between them, a fragile thread of trust, a forbidden bond. Days passed, and with each visit, Liara stayed longer. She taught him how to move silently, how to breathe slowly when danger passed above. She showed him hidden cracks in the wall where faint light from the surface leaked through. She even shared fragments of stories, small pieces of her world. Her people lived in great towers of black stone, built on ruins they claimed humans had destroyed. Her father was not only a soldier, but a commander, feared and respected. If he discovered her secret, he would not hesitate to end her life. Boy listened, his anger and sorrow mixing. He wanted to tell her stories of Earth, of blue skies and oceans, of laughter and music. But his memories were broken, fragments slipping through his hands like sand. One night, he remembered a melody. A simple human song. He hummed it softly, his voice weak but steady. Liara froze, her eyes wide. "What is that?" She whispered. "A song," he said. "Something humans made to remember who they are." Her glowing eyes shimmered as she listened. There was sadness in her face, and something else he could not name. When the song ended, she whispered, "We have no songs, only orders." For the first time, he saw tears in her eyes, silver tears, shining faintly in the bunker light. But danger never left them. One evening, when she arrived, her face was pale, her movements quick. "My father grows restless," she said. "He believes someone close to him is hiding a human." The boy's blood ran cold. "Does he know it's you?" She shook her head. "Not yet." Her voice dropped, trembling. "But he suspects." The boy felt anger rise inside him. "Then why keep doing this? Why not leave me to die? You could be free." Her eyes flashed with fire. "Free?" She whispered harshly. "I am never free, not while lies rule my people." She leaned closer, her voice fierce but soft. "You are proof. Proof that humans are not monsters. Proof that the stories are not all true." Her words struck him deeply. He had never thought of himself as proof of anything. He was weak, broken, hiding in a hole. But to her, his existence meant something larger than himself. That night, as she prepared to leave, she hesitated. For the first time, she did not vanish quickly into the tunnel. Instead, she turned back, her glowing eyes searching his face. "If I fail, if I fall," she whispered, "promise me you will survive." The boy shook his head. "Not without you." But she only gave him a faint, sad smile. "Promise me," she repeated. His throat tightened. But he nodded. "I promise." The panel closed behind her, leaving him in the dark once more. But the darkness felt different now, because in his chest he carried her name, her secret, her trust. It was no longer just survival, it was something else, something forbidden, something worth fighting for. Above the bunker, soldiers continued their endless patrols. Voices echoed in the night, sharp and cruel. And somewhere among them was her father, the commander, the hunter, the one who would destroy them both if he knew. But down below, in the silence of the hidden bunker, a fragile bond had formed, a human and an alien girl, bound by secrets, songs, and trust. And in a world of lies and fear, that bond was the most dangerous thing of all. The days inside the bunker grew heavier. The human no longer counted hours, no longer measured time by food or sleep. He measured it by the look in Liara's eyes every time she entered. At first, her eyes carried fear, But now they carried something else. A storm. She came less often now, always moving quickly, always listening to sounds above. Her voice dropped lower, her steps sharper. Her father had begun searching, not with patrols, but with hunters. Elite soldiers who never failed. The boy felt the change before she even spoke of it. The air itself seemed tighter, filled with danger. When she finally admitted it, her voice shook. "My father has given orders," she whispered. "Every bunker, every hidden passage will be searched, no excuses." The boy's chest tightened. "Then it's only a matter of time before they find me," he said. Leora's glowing eyes locked on his. "Unless I stop them," she whispered. Her words chilled him. "How?" he asked, his voice tense, her face darkened. "If I mislead them, if I change the reports, if I draw their attention elsewhere," she whispered. "But if I fail, my father will know, and then—" She did not finish. She didn't have to. The boy clenched his fists, anger burning in his chest. "I don't want you to die for me," he whispered. She shook her head, silver hair brushing her shoulders. "You don't understand. This is bigger than you, bigger than me." Her voice dropped, trembling but fierce. "If they prove that humans are not what they claim, then maybe we can break the lies that bind us." Her words struck him like a blade. But before he could reply, heavy sounds echoed above. Voices, not patrols, but hunters. Their words were sharp, commanding, filled with cruelty. They said the signal came from here, one voice growled. "If a human hides, we burn this place to ash." The boy's blood ran cold. Leora grabbed his arm, dragging him toward the secret tunnel. "Go," she ordered. "Stay silent, no matter what happens." But he resisted, his voice shaking. "What about you?" She turned, her glowing eyes fierce. "I will face them." The wall slid open. Soldiers stormed in, their armor black, their weapons alive with red fire. The boy ducked into the tunnel, pressing himself flat against the stone. Through the crack, he saw Leora standing tall, her face calm, her voice sharp. "You dare storm into my place without orders?" she demanded. The hunters hesitated, their weapons still raised. "Commander's orders," one said coldly. "No place is safe until the human is found." The boy's chest clenched. They were speaking of him. Leora's face hardened. "You think my father would allow you to question me?" she snapped. The hunters faltered, uncertain. But one of them, taller, crueler, stepped forward. "Your father suspects even his own blood," he said slowly. "If you hide the human, you will burn with him." Her face did not change, but her hand trembled slightly against her side. The boy saw it through the crack, saw the danger closing in. His instincts screamed at him to run, but his heart screamed something else. If they discovered her, if they hurt her, what then? The soldiers moved deeper into the room, scanning every wall. The red light swept dangerously close to the hidden tunnel. The boy pressed his body flat, his heart hammering like a drum. One wrong move, one breath too loud, and everything would end. Then Leora stepped forward, her voice sharp as steel. "Search me if you wish," she said. The hunters froze, their faces uncertain. "Do it," she challenged, her glowing eyes burning. "You think I, the daughter of the commander, would betray my people for a human?" The silence was heavy. Finally, the leader of the hunters lowered his weapon. "You are bold," he muttered, "but your boldness will not save you forever." With that, the hunters turned, their footsteps echoing as they left the bunker. The boy's body sagged in relief, his lungs gasping for air. When the wall sealed again, Leora collapsed to the floor, her hands trembling. Her breath came fast, her eyes wet with tears she refused to shed. The boy crawled from the tunnel, his body shaking. "You almost died," he whispered. She looked at him, her glowing eyes fierce even through the fear. "And you almost got me killed," she said, her voice sharp. They stared at each other, anger and fear clashing. Finally, the boy whispered, "Maybe I should leave, maybe I should run far from here, so you don't risk yourself anymore." Her hand shot out, gripping his arm. "No," she whispered, her voice breaking. If you go, you will die. If you stay, maybe. Maybe we still have a chance. Her grip tightened, her eyes filled with desperation. You don't understand, my father will not stop. He will tear the world apart to find you. And if he learns it was me, her voice cracked, but she forced. It's steady. Then we both fall. The boy's throat tightened, he whispered. Then what do we do? Leora's eyes burned with fire. We fight, she whispered. Not now, not yet, but soon. Her voice trembled, but it carried something new. Not just fear, not just sorrow, but resolve. The boy felt it too. The bunker no longer felt like just a cage. It felt like the place where something was beginning, something dangerous, something unstoppable. Above them, her father's shadow grew larger, his search closing in, his suspicion sharpening. And in the silence of the bunker, both the human and the alien girl knew. The breaking point had come. The time of hiding was almost over. The bunker was no longer silent. It pulsed with fear, with danger, with the sound of footsteps above that never seemed to fade. The boy sat with his back against the wall, his fists clenched, his heart restless. Leora stood near the tunnel, her face pale, her glowing eyes sharp with worry. Her father's hunters had come too close too many times. The walls themselves carried whispers, the glowing marks flickering as if reporting every breath. They both knew it could not last much longer. The secret was heavy, fragile, one slip away from death. That night, Leora entered faster than ever before. Her face was pale, her chest rising and falling quickly. He knows, she whispered, her voice trembling. My father knows someone close to him is hiding you. The boy froze, his throat dry. Does he know it's you? He asked. Her silence was the answer. Tears shimmered in her eyes, but her voice turned sharp. He is coming, not hunters this time, not patrols, my father himself. The boy's stomach tightened. The commander, the hunter, the man who believed humans deserved nothing but death. If he stepped into this bunker, there would be no more hiding. The boy whispered, then it's over. But Leora shook her head, fire burning in her eyes. No, not over, not yet, she said. She pressed her hand to the wall, and another hidden panel opened. A narrow tunnel stretching upward, toward the ruined surface. You must run, she whispered, her voice breaking. Now. The boy stared at her, his chest heavy. What about you? He asked. She shook her head, silver hair brushing across her face. I will stay, I must stay, if I leave with you. He will chase us both, and we will not survive. Her voice trembled. But if I stay, maybe I can stop him. Maybe I can give you a chance. No, the boy whispered, his voice fierce. I won't leave you here to die. Leora stepped closer, her eyes glowing bright in the dark. You promised me, she whispered. You promised me you would survive. Boy's throat tightened, his heart breaking. He remembered the promise. The night she had asked him to live even if she fell. But promises felt like chains now. Chains pulling him away from the only bond that had kept him alive. Above, heavy footsteps echoed. Voices sharp and commanding. The commander was near. The air itself seemed to shake with his presence. Leora's eyes burned with urgency. Go, she begged. If he sees you, he will kill you. And he will kill me. But if you escape, maybe your story will live. Her voice cracked, but she stood tall, stronger than she had ever looked. The boy hesitated, torn between love and survival, but then he saw the truth in her eyes. This was her choice, her sacrifice. With shaking hands, he climbed into the tunnel. The stones scraped against his skin, the narrow passage pressing tight around him. Behind him, Leora sealed the panel, her glowing eyes the last thing he saw. Then darkness swallowed him. The boy crawled upward, his breath ragged, each step heavier than the last. He could hear voices below, sharp and cruel, and then he heard another voice, deeper, colder, filled with command. Her father, the commander. Where is he? The voice demanded. I know you hide the human, Leora's voice answered, calm but trembling. There is no human here. she said. The boy froze in the tunnel, his chest tight. Every word she spoke was a blade. Cutting her own life shorter, the commander's voice roared, "You dare lie to me?" The sound of impact echoed, stone cracking, the bunker trembling. The boy crawled faster, his heart breaking, his mind screaming her name, but he could not go back. If he returned, both of them would die. At last he reached the surface. The tunnel opened into the ruined world above. The sky was dark, filled with smoke and broken stars. The air was sharp, but it was freedom. For the first time since waking in the bunker, he was outside, alive, but his chest was heavy, his throat tight below. The sounds of shouting still echoed. He pressed his hands to the ground, whispering her name, Leora. The world above was vast, ruined, but filled with possibility. The boy stood, his legs weak but steady. He looked at the horizon, broken towers and shattered skies, and he realized her words were true. He carried proof now, proof that not all aliens were the same, proof that one of them had believed a human deserved to live. Tears blurred his vision, but his voice was steady. "I will survive," he whispered. "Not only for me, but for her, far below." In the depths of the bunker, Leora faced her father, her glowing eyes fierce, her voice unbroken. "Humans are not what you think," she said, and though her fate was sealed, her words would not die, because above, a human walked into the ruined world, carrying her secret, her sacrifice, her forbidden bond. And sometimes, humanity survives not because of its own strength, but because someone else believed it should.